What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how to get off to a quick start in the life insurance space, doing phone sales, in person, whatever the case is. Guys, but first, if this video helps you guys, share it with a friend. I'm sure someone else would take something good out of it if you did. Guys, like and subscribe, and if you want any more information on Real Financial, feel free to shoot me a text, 610-235-3037. Guys, if you don't know who I am, my name's Tyler Glennon. Last year at Real Financial, I was able to outsell everybody by over 6 figures. This year, it's just my goal to teach as many other people what I've been able to learn along my journey and hopefully accelerate a lot of people's learning curve because, like myself, I wish I had this video to learn from when I got started because it took me 2 full months to sell my first policy. And then after that, it was kind of like off to the races, but my first 2 months were pretty rocky. How to get off to a quick start selling life insurance, guys. And like I said, my first 2 months, I didn't sell any policies, right? So I got started and I was doing it kind of part-time when I had the time. I was in college, I was playing college hockey, and I was just trying to make it work with my schedule. And what I realized is I wasn't putting enough time, energy, and effort into selling life insurance, and I wasn't growing, I wasn't gaining the skills that I needed, I wasn't getting the perspective that I needed fast enough to be able to kill it really quickly, right? So, it took me 2 months doing it part-time to say, you know what, I'm gonna go full-time. And when I went full-time, I started to see some success and I started to learn really quickly. And then I got to the point where I was just it was just natural to sell a policy a day, 2 policies a day. I got 3, 4, I was selling 5 policies a day sometimes, right? So it takes some time to get there. And I hope that this video is gonna be able to help you guys get there more quickly than I did because I know that it took me way longer than I wanted it to, and it was super freaking frustrating. So, guys, the kind of framework response or like guidance that I would give you guys is, number one, you got to take a lot of you have to have a lot of activity and take a lot of action. You have to. If you don't have activity and take a lot of action, then you're going to set yourself up to have analysis paralysis. And if you have analysis paralysis, that means that you're sitting on your hands and you're waiting to do the work. And if you're waiting to do the work, the longer that you do wait, the less likely you are to actually do it. Right? I want to get prepared, but I don't want to over prepare. I'm going to learn more by doing the thing than I am trying to learn all of the ins and outs and nuts and bolts and everything about what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to learn more on the fly than I am trying to sit there behind my computer screen, avoiding actually doing the work. Guys, when I started making calls, I was nervous. I didn't have any experience. I didn't have any background in sales. I didn't know anything about insurance. And I was just trying to kind of figure it out. And I was terrified. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, but I started, right? And because I started, that eventually felt normal. And then I started to make like a little bit more calls, and then that felt normal. And then I was still not selling at all. And people were still hanging up with me, and I was trying to present numbers, and people were like, call me back. And I was like, okay, when, right? And then I kind of figured out that those follow-up calls, not all the time were real. And that kind of got normal, and I got over that. And every week that went by, I hit a new threshold. At the beginning, I was just scared to make phone calls, and then that became normal. And then after that, it was like I made more phone calls, and that became normal. And then I learned that not everybody's actually, open-minded, and I was okay with getting hung up on, and that became normal. And my threshold kept getting bigger, right? And I started to understand more by just doing it, by just throwing myself in there and starting to figure it out. All right, so that's number one. Number two is going to be that everything that happens is a good learning lesson. That's how you have to take it, because there's so much that goes on inside of our business, and there's so many areas to be like, man, this doesn't work because of that. Well, this is really hard because of that. This isn't going to be a good idea because of that. If you're looking out the window, pointing the finger at everything about why this opportunity is not going to work for you, that's exactly right. It's not going to work for you. In this industry, your perception is your reality. If you point the finger and you're believing that this opportunity is not going to work, it will not. Okay? If you take full accountability and responsibility and you live your life looking in the mirror, then you will become successful inside this industry. But that's up to you and nobody else. And you're the only one that's really going to truly know if you're blaming what's going on around you and these external things in your life, or if you're truly taking the full accountability and responsibility as a 1099 business owner, salesperson, or you're letting yourself slide and you're just saying, man, didn't work because of this. Because we all have the same opportunity inside this industry. We all have the same tools and resources inside this industry. And I want you guys to just keep that at the forefront of your mind. So if you're not having success, take everything as a learning lesson, because if you can learn from it, it's a good thing. I went 2 months without selling. Should I have quit? Probably. 5,000 calls. I made 0 sales. was borrowing money from my friends. I spent all the money that I had on leads to try to figure it out. I couldn't do it. Dropped out of school, no money in my bank account, and I took out a loan for $1,500, spent it all back on leads because I just believed that it was going to work. I knew that it was just going to work if I just kept doing it, right? And I don't recommend everybody go and do that, but I'm just saying that because I had that attitude of taking accountability at that point in time, I made it work, right? I very easily could have said, this is stupid, it doesn't work. It's been 2 months, I haven't sold anything. But I was playing the long game. It wasn't about right now. It was about building the skills, developing myself to be able to do this consistently and successfully over a long period of time. I didn't care about the day-to-day. And I think that if we could all change our perspective and think about it as a long-term play, small steps, long vision, then we would have a better opportunity to become successful inside this industry, right? The third thing is going to be to start to change the decisions that we're making, seek some counsel, grab a mentor. Guys, if you don't have a mentor where you're at right now, then you need to find somebody who's going to mentor you, right? You need to find someone that's going to help you along the way. You need to find someone who's done it, who's proven it, right? And then you're going to start to learn from the things that you're doing wrong in the past. For me, it's those 2 month span. What was I doing incorrectly? Let's avoid doing all that. And what can I take out of that as a good thing, right? I remember that when I dropped out of school, I went my first 3 days, I didn't make a sale and I dialed 12 hours a day. And I was like kind of nervous and I was like still trying to figure it out, right? And one of my buddies gave me a call who was doing it really successfully at Real Financial. And he's like, hey man, look, like let's run through your process. I really want this to work for you. You're really committed. You're doing everything right. But it's probably just something super small that we can tweak and you're going to start to see success. The next day I sold 2 policies and it was like almost 4,000 AP. I was off to the races and I just didn't stop and I found somebody that had done it. That person was luckily super nice and super willing to help me. And I took all of the advice that he gave me to start making some new decisions inside my business, right? The fourth thing, guys, is going to be follow the lead of someone who's already done it, right? I can sit here and scream about it. I can sit here and tell you guys that you guys should come to Real Financial, but the reality is as long as you guys have somebody that's teaching you, you're in a great spot. There's so many people inside of our industry that get recruited places and then they get left out to dry. They don't have a mentor. They're not being taught properly. Their group isn't as exciting and as fun and they're not as helpful and they're not as educated as they thought that they were when they got into it, right? So if you have a mentor, if you have someone that you're following, just keep following that person because this industry, like I said before, we all have the same opportunity within it. We all have the same tools and resources to be able to go out there and create whatever kind of life we want and create whatever kind of income we want to have. So if you have someone that is actually teaching you, stick with them, learn from them, take their word, because if they're a couple steps up higher than you are on that staircase of, the levels of the game or whatever you want to call it, then they know more than you. Trust their opinion, just do what they say, and they will be leading you to where they are, hopefully, right? That's the goal. And these 4 keys, we'll just call them, right? The 4 points that I just made are all things that I see new agents screw up and I see new agents do well. And when I see them do these 4 things really well, they end up having not only quick success, but they play the long game the correct way and they just are always learning. It's not this doesn't work. I didn't make a sale my first 3 days. I spent money on leads and I didn't make anything back my first time buying leads. Maybe I didn't make as much as I thought I would, right? Like, take accountability for this stuff. I can be better. What can I do differently? Maybe I need to get more confident on the phone. Maybe I need to work my leads differently. Maybe I need to make more calls. Maybe I need to do more outreach. Maybe my tone isn't correct when I'm asking my questions. Maybe I'm turning people off because I have commission breath and I'm just trying to make a sale, right? We have to be super accountable for these results because when we're accountable, we can make those changes. We can start to change the decisions inside of our business, and that's what's going to drive different results. Okay? Guys, if you guys want any more help with anything, again, feel free to shoot me a text, 610-235-3037. Guys, you guys can follow me on Instagram, Tyler_Glennon. I'm dropping content like this all the time. A bunch more stuff. I'm always talking about Real Financial on there. And guys, if this helped you out, feel free to go out and share it with a friend who's in the industry. And if you guys need anything, seriously, feel free to reach out. We're here to help. And if you don't have a mentor, reach out to us. We'll put you with one of our great leaders at Real Financial. If you guys need anything, hit me up. See you in the